Hi, it's Connor Svensson here, founder and CEO of Web3 Labs, and this is your week in DeFi on Monday, the 18th of October, 2021. Key events this week: Rary Capital has launched permissionless lending pools. Their XDeFi wallet goes public, and DeFi is now a $200 billion industry. In terms of our metrics, the assets locked in DeFi are up 8.5% to $177 billion. Rary Capital has outlined what their plans to become the Uniswap of lending. And so what they've announced this week is permissionless lending pools. And so this will actually allow anyone to create lending and borrowing pools on top of their protocol. So in effect, what this means is that with platforms like Aave, which are widely used for lending, they have a number of different lending pools for specific products. But the differentiator here with what Rary want to do is allow anyone to actually be able to go and create these pools. So with Uniswap, the leading decentralized exchange, what people can do there is they can establish liquidity pools, which facilitates the trading of different sets of tokens, and you can really create your own pool for any tokens that you want there. And so what they really want to do here with their new product is just enable people to create their own lending pools for any tokens. So it's definitely a big innovation there, and we'll see how the community responds to it. The crypto lending firm Celsius Network has raised $400 million. The interesting thing about this funding round was that it was actually led by Canada's second largest pension fund, Caisse de dépôt et placement du Québec, and Westcap, which is an equity firm established by one of the former Airbnb executives. And so what they want to do here is to double their team from 486 employees to nearly 1,000 and expand further through some strategic acquisitions. The fact that they've got significant established institutional money behind them here. It's fascinating to see that. And Celsius's CEO was keen to point out how that they've got over $25 billion in assets and distributed over $850 million in yield to over 1.1 million people, which is far more than any other lender. So it's some interesting figures there. The XDeFi wallet has had its public release this week. And so what the XDeFi wallet does is they actually support a number of different blockchains, including Ethereum and Ethereum compatible chains, Thorchain and Terra. And the intent here is that it's really focused on DeFi and NFT users so that people can interact with multiple blockchains via the wallet. Because right now, typically wallets are tied to specific blockchains. You take MetaMask, for instance, that works with Ethereum compatible chains, but you can't use it anywhere else. And so this idea of having wallets that support multiple protocols is certainly a logical step forward there. And really what they want to do here is pioneer this space of having a wallet that works well, but you can see assets across multiple different chains. If you've got NFTs, say in Solana and Ethereum, you want to easily be able to view them in one place rather than have multiple wallets there. So it's kind of a no-brainer that there's demand for this. But they also, in terms of for the DeFi community, they've got what they call a proprietary gas algorithm as well. And this is basically to give users more certainty around getting their transactions in, because one of the challenges people face with DeFi is you might not always be successful with transactions the first time you do them if you're not willing to pay enough, or you might end up overpaying there as well. So what they're keen to do here is give their users a sort of a speed edge, so to speak, to just ensure that when they're doing these DeFi investments, they're not likely to have any issues there. A FINMA regulated digital asset bank called SEBA has announced the launch of a product called SEBA Earn. And so what they're doing here is providing staking offerings for Polkadot, Tether, and Cardano, and also going to be offering a centralized lending solution as well. So people here can deposit a number of different cryptocurrencies and get a return here. And what they're doing here is going after institutions, really. So it's progress in that respect. The Shell protocol, which has been built by the Cowrie Labs team, they're wanting to bring more nuance to the automated market maker world with a white paper that they've put out. Automated market making is really the techniques that are used by these decentralized exchanges or DEXs in order to actually provide liquidity, where people post assets to what are called these liquidity pools. And it's called automated because it's it's done via a smart contract behind the scenes rather than having people posting orders to order books, which is what happens in centralized exchanges. And so what they want to do here is they want to give developers and liquidity providers more power over how prices move as traders actually trade. And so it will basically make it easier for them to control what are called the bonding curves of their their pools. And so it means that you can just make these more effective as well. So it'll be one to watch to see how it emerges there. According to a report from DeFi Llama, there's now $200 billion tied up in DeFi protocols, and this number has actually doubled since late June. With the metrics that we've reported on that use CoinGecko, they're slightly below this number, but we've certainly seen this big increase. But what DeFi Llama are saying here is that they've looked across a number of different protocols, and this is the number they've come up with. The majority of these, though, are on Ethereum, which they reckon is 140 billion, and then Binance Smart Chain next with 18.5 billion, and Solana with 11.7. Off the back of this, also Terra, Avalanche, and Phantom have got a fair bit on the different platforms. So we know that the DeFi interest has exploded in the last 12 months, but certainly whether it has hit 200 billion, it's certainly not far off if it hasn't. So it's again a very big milestone for it to hit. That's all we have for this week in DeFi. If you're interested in enterprise blockchain and protocols, crypto or NFTs, please check out our other updates this week. And also, if you want to keep up more and hear from people who are actually driving a lot of these innovations in blockchain, do check out our Blockchain Innovators podcast, where I speak to individuals who've made significant contributions to the blockchain ecosystem, find out what inspires them, get their thoughts on the latest industry news and events spanning crypto, blockchain protocols, DeFi, NFTs, DAOs, and IoT. Thanks, and I'll see you next week.